嘿嘿 Hello kids， 我们今天要读的呢是 I told you about this column before. It's not just you, and it's from time.com. I read something from this column a while ago. 那么在美国，这种性质的文章就是叙述一下心中的感觉啊，那么分享一下自己对事情的想法，抒压一下，对不对？那么这个作者这一次这个文章应该就是他的 editor at large. I hope I'm saying her name right. Suzanna Shrobsdorff. 那么刚好这一篇是他写的，他只是叙述一下，他认为美国年初1月就已经很动荡了，他就跟20年前的911做了一个比较，那么他就写出了他心中的感觉。当然从这个 title 我们也看得出来，对不对？提醒大家可能还是维持乐观，虽然这个乐观可能是脆弱的。 Okay, here we go. Our fragile optimism. I remember the last time I had to choose between optimism and fear, between hope and the urge to run away. It was right after 9/11. I had babies. One so tiny she was still curled up like a fern, and the other toddling around, gumming everything she could get her little starfish hands on. And as their brand new lungs took in the smoke that blew over to Brooklyn from the burning towers, I wanted to pack them up and flee to some safer place. The very act of having a child is an optimistic bid on the future, one you won't even be around to see. You learn that it's your job to tell these little creatures that everything's going to be okay, despite all evidence to the contrary. To do that, you have to find your own way toward hope. There is no better insincerity detector than a little kid. So you say to yourself, yes, these babies of mine will be able to make a good living in a peaceful place. Yes, there is still time for nations on Earth to get it together and mitigate climate change. And yes, the arc of history will bend toward justice. Then, for the next 20 years, the world challenges that audacious optimism. So time and again, you must find it within yourself to choose hope. Not for yourself, but for them. You look for the helpers, as Mr. Rogers would say, or do your utmost to be a helper, rather than drag down into a bog of despair. These days, hope requires fighting the algorithm of anger on social media, in addition to the ancient parts of our brain that pulls us toward catastrophizing. We are wired to scan constantly for threats. It's a trait that kept us alive in hunter-gatherer times. But now, it may have the opposite effect. We've learned that rage spreads faster online than joy, and outrage is contagious. So my practice lately is to remind myself that for every guy wearing a Camp Auschwitz staff sweatshirt, there are many more Officer Goodmans stepping in between us and hate. Nonetheless, these past few weeks have reminded me the months after 9/11. Maybe it's the sight of the Capitol surrounded by rows and rows of soldiers, fences, and barbed wire, and people using terms like green zone. Back then, we wondered, as we do now, whether we had hit some sort of dividing line of America before and after. We hope this horrible month is a finite moment, that we are hitting our absolute bottom, the nadir of two simultaneous disasters, a deadly pandemic and equally deadly cultural divisions. And after this, we rebuilt. But we worry this will be a long battle, with continued attacks and internecine animus. It's natural to wonder if America's future is one of fear, President George W. Bush said in a speech to Congress on September 20th, 2001. Some speak of an age of terror. I know there are struggles ahead and dangers to face, but this country will define our times, not be defined by them. So how do we define these times? Dare we get attached to the idea that ramped up COVID vaccine distribution and economic aid will bring relief before the end of the year, and that we will steadily coalesce against hate? I guess we will have to believe it is possible for the sake of the next generation and for our own sanity. As philosopher and psychologist William James put it, the greatest weapon against stress is our ability to choose one thought over another. My kids are big now, grown, but not yet in charge of the world they live in. So we will define these times together. But I can't help thinking that these children of 9/11 are coming of age just as it feels like we are coming apart again. I look at my 19-year-old, and in her profile, I can still see her sonogram. The slope of her nose and the angle of her chin are exactly the same as they were 7,300 or so days ago. I still have the urge to sweep both kids up and take them far away from all this, but it's not up to me. The two of them will have to discover their own well of optimism, their own armor of hope. OK， 那么又读了一遍之后，当然也就确认了，这个作者心中还是相对是忐忑不安的，因为觉得时代比较动荡，所以他在一直回想啊 9/11 的时候，那么那个时候状态不太稳定，那个时候是恐怖主义。那么他一直讲说，现在感觉跟那个时候好像很像啊。那当然，现在的状况也是让他觉得害怕的。所以就是表达自己心中的感觉，提醒自己，提醒大家维持乐观，寻找勇气。大概就是这篇文章最主要的意思了。我们赶快看一下几个生字。这篇文章的生字不太多，因为生字不少啦。如果真的是要聊的话，但是我认为你们应该没有问题。toddler 小朋友 toddling around toddle 就是跌跌撞撞、摇摇摆摆的走路，小朋友都是这样走的。gumming everything she could get her hands on， 什么东西都要塞在嘴里嘛，没有牙齿，所以是 gumming， 用它的牙肉来咬，对不对？insincerity detector， 它的意思只是说，小朋友，你对小朋友一定要诚实。你如果不是 genuine 的来面对一个小孩，小朋友很快就会知道。那么 despite evidence to the contrary， 你告诉自己所有的事情都会没有问题的，虽然所有的证据都是相反的。所以 contrary 就是相反的。contagious 就是有传染性的，会传染的。这一段至少他是认定，他顺便解释了一下来。他说为什么 Rage spreads faster than joy。为什么现在很多人过度反应？他说我们在 hunter-gatherer 的时候，我们的脑袋在演化的过程都会过度反应。我们是 our brains it became 就是 toward catastrophizing， 就是总是觉得什么事情都是世界末日，就会过度反应，特别是面对于威胁了。所以当在 social media 传了很多 messages of anger and hate and conspiracy theories， 大家都过度反应。所以 rage spreads faster online than joy， 然后 outrage is contagious， 他只是说这是他的观点啊。那么 we hope this horrible month is finite。 finite 就是有限度的，就是他希望这个他指的这个 horrible month 当然就是2021年的1月，因为就是有了这个1月6号的国会大厦被暴徒侵占。他说 that we are hitting our absolute bottom， the nadir 就是最低点，已经跌得不可能比这个再惨了。of 2 simultaneous disasters， 因为我们还有 COVID-19， 我们又有社会动荡，让他心里觉得很不安。然后 internecine animus， 自相残杀的，这个字我也要学。自相残杀的，内斗的，那这个就是敌意，就是互相仇视。所以他说他希望这个月是 finite， 就是到了这个就可以结束了。可是呢，他自己还是担心这个是一个 long battle， 而且我们还会持续的内斗，而且持有敌意。大概就是这个样子了。sonogram， 如果你们知道 sonogram， 就是小朋友照这个超音波的时候，他就说他看到他的小孩觉得跟他照超音波的时候还是一模一样，还是想要把他们抱起来就带走。OK， 这篇文章我这个 column 你看这个就是 John Lewis， 这是一个很有名的人，美国的人权斗士。他就是在 Martin Luther King 还在的时候，他就是一个好像20几岁的小朋友，因为他去年死掉了，才看了一些他的过去，还蛮伟大一个人，一直是一个人权斗士。所以这个 column 就是这个在时代杂志网站上的这个 column， 就是讲这个就是我们的 editor at large。 OK， until next time， see ya。